Doctor Who is a show that has spawned a vast amount of expanded media in its nearly 60-year run. Amongst the comics, novels and other content, we as fans occasionally get live-action, spin-off TV shows from the same universe. With Doctor Who's revival in 2005, Russell T Davies would create an empire of media as the main show reached peak popularity. There was the good, average, and ugly. Regardless of your thoughts on the expanded universe, with gaps between new seasons of Who reaching as long as 18 months, it would be prudent for that gap to be filled. And I know what people will say, big finish. Well, not everyone can adapt to audio-only stories. With RTD's return to the show, as well as a new link with Disney Plus and Bad Wolf, it's not too unlikely that we'll be seeing some more spin-offs in the not too distant future. Here are some of my concepts for a potential on-screen expanded universe. The Paternoster Gang consists of Sontaran medic Strax, Silurian Madame Vastra, and her love interest, Jenny Flint. The gang were first introduced in the 2011 episode A Good Man Goes to War, and the name as a group is based off their address, 13 Paternoster Row. They operate in Victorian London in the year 1888. Vastra is considered the leader of the group, considering she owns the house they live in. Jenny operates as maid, while Strax is the butler. When we see the trio during The Snowmen and Deep Breath, they are investigating local crimes. This is the same premise whereby a spin-off show could be based. In order to distinguish the show from the main show, the Paternoster Gang series will be more about the gang using their unique abilities to operate as special operative detectives and solve the suspicious mysteries of Victorian London. A key point in this series would be each character's personal journey. Vastra would be seen trying to communicate with authorities whilst also remaining anonymous to the outside world. Strax would also have this problem. I'd find it interesting if we saw Strax's loyalties called into question. Perhaps the Sontarans opt to recall their medic, or even launch a small-scale hunt for the traitor. I also have an idea of Strax having his own little workshop, where he develops different types of weaponry to help their cause. Jenny would also have a tough time balancing her life with the gang and her unaware family. Flashbacks would be ideal for this show to identify how the gang came together to form this almost family. The show would be aimed at a similar audience to Doctor Who itself. The monsters we could see might be comedic, but the relations and character behind each individual person would be more mature. Unfortunately, I highly doubt this series to ever come about. The characters are Stephen Moffat's creations, and considering the BBC gave us Class in 2016 instead of this series, I highly doubt it we'd get it in 2022 onwards. In addition, Stephen Moffat left the show in 2017 and has denied that he would ever return to write another episode. However, I strongly believe the actors would be willing, and if a decent story arc could be worked into this concept, perhaps including the Great Intelligence, maybe this could still happen. A Torchwood revival is a notion which has been mooted since the show concluded its final season in 2011. The show ran for 4 seasons, with the main characters being Captain Jack Harkness and Gwen Cooper. The premise is
outside the government, beyond the police, tracking down alien life on Earth and arming the human race against the future. The 21st century is when everything changes, and you've got to be ready.
For the show to be revived, the cast may need a shake-up, particularly considering the controversies surrounding John Barrowman. Therefore, I suggest the new lead be Mandip Gill as Yasmin Khan. It'd be nice for Yas to get more opportunities, as it felt there was a lot of missed potential during her stint on the main show. Yas would be tasked with locating a team to help her with the spike in rift activity in Cardiff. Luke Smith could be part of this team. It'd be interesting to see how Luke's character would be handled without the kid gloves that were used during the Sarah Jane adventures. Luke's character would be more emotionally distant and very savvy with technology. Yaz, on the other hand, would be battling for the leading role with returning Gwen Cooper. It would take some convincing to get Gwen to return. In fact, with Reese's influence, she'd likely say no to Yaz's request. However, after perhaps seeing the team struggling to contain some of the risk threats, Gwen would offer to help, To complete the team, there would be 2 original characters, one offering military support and the other operating as a medic. Both might seem dodgy, and they would likely turn out to be spies in the finale. In order to progress from earlier iterations of Torchwood, it's feasible that the crew end up seeing some alien planets for themselves, and perhaps even end up stranded after falling through the rift. There would also need to be some cameos throughout the revival. Jack would be referenced and maybe even cameo, whilst Rex might be in constant contact from America. With Torchwood being aimed at a more adult audience, it's likely that the team would fall out whilst facing less toned down threats. Body horror and grown-up character relations would be pivotal to utilise this later time slot, in line with what Children of Earth achieved. Most villains would be original, but I'd love to see Torchwood encounter the Sensorites from the first Doctor's era. Random, I know. Anyway, I think the revival of Torchwood is moderately likely. The show is loved and is easy to make with it being set in Cardiff, where the parent show is shot. The main stumbling block is John Barrowman. Does the show work without him? I think so, but it's down to RTD, Disney and the BBC to decide. Or would they do the unthinkable and bring Barrowman back? Nah. 2014's Dark Water gave us the shocking revelation that Michelle Gomez's character was in fact a new incarnation of the Master, now calling themselves Missy. This incarnation showed a desire to get on with her old friend, the Doctor, as the pair fought against one another throughout Series 8 and Series 9. The 12th Doctor's final season in 2017 saw the pair attempt to be friends again. Naturally, this failed, with Missy being murdered by herself. But a while ago. In Season 12, Sacha Dhawan was also revealed to be the Master, and Sacha's incarnation proved as evil as ever. This has led to many fans to speculate upon where this incarnation fits in, before or after Missy. We never got an explanation as to why the Master returned to their evil ways once again during the Chibnall era. However, I believe there is a lot of material that can be used to fill this gap. It makes perfect sense that Missy would survive her death, as the Master typically has plans in place for this sort of scenario. In addition, you'd suspect that dying whilst trying to do the right thing would make someone as selfish as the Master question whether doing the right thing is the right thing to do. The series would start with Missy in an adventure, uncertain whether she should save the people in front of her or relish in the chaos. We would then see flashbacks to Missy leaving the colony ship from the Doctor Falls. Missy would explore the universe as best she could, trying to live up to the person the Doctor wanted her to be. This series would show the scummy side of the universe. Heists, executions and gang wars would all be shown. Missy would be worn down after being betrayed by people she thinks are her friends, as all those she tries to save prioritise themselves. Missy would have a companion similar to the Doctor, however Missy's companion would be a renegade time agent who's a negative impact on her. The pair would be forced together at first, but in time find that they make a good team. Missy's initial mission would be to get back to the Doctor, and perhaps in the finale she might even see him again. Wouldn't it be great for Missy to meet Eleven or even Ncuti as the 15th Doctor? However, the Doctor would unknowingly cause the death of Missy's time agent friend. In addition, the Doctor might blame Missy for a gang war, still believing that this incarnation abandoned him in the Doctor Falls and therefore isn't an ally. He would assist in her arrest at the hands of the Time Lords. All this combined with Missy once again being punished for doing the right thing and losing her friend would undo her redemption arc. This series would be great for highlighting how the Doctor affects people from a different perspective, whilst also showing Missy's internal conflicts. Once on Gallifrey, Missy would be forced to regenerate into Sacha Dhawan's incarnation, giving more context as to why the Master wanted to force the 13th Doctor to regenerate in The Power of the Doctor. There would be room for some great scenes on Gallifrey, with the Master reminiscing on their childhood. We would get some details and minor flashbacks, but nothing major to ruin the mystery of their upbringing. If required, this series would have room to continue further, displaying the Master's ruthlessness leading up to him voyaging into the Matrix to investigate a Time Lord's secret. I can't stress how much I'd love for this spin-off to happen, but unfortunately, I think it's extremely unlikely. Michelle Gomez's era as Missy, as well as Sacha Dhawan's era as the Master, are both over, and I can see RTD wanting a fresh take on the character, if he decides to bring them back at all, that is. Therefore, I cannot see this series happening anytime in the near future, but I stand by my belief that this would be great if it were to ever happen. Well, that's it for part 1 of this video. Let me know what you think and also comment your spin-off ideas down below. Part 2 will come out in the future, as well as lots of other videos. I'm looking to do some reviews, theories, breakdowns and more, predominantly based on Doctor Who, but I will talk about other shows too. Thanks for watching. My Twitter is in the description if you want to hear more from me. Like and subscribe, and I'll see you in a bit.